Please listen carefully.
Hello, universe. Welcome to the Optimist Daily Update. I'm Summers McKay.
And I'm Kristy Jansen, and we are part of the team behind the Optimist Daily, making solutions the news. We bring you reader-funded solutions news every day in order to change the tenor of news media, social media, and the direction of your day to help us all get focused on what's going right in the world.
7 days a week, we publish positive news stories written by award-winning journalists and delivered online to your inbox and through our social channels. And also, we are sharing these solutions in a commute-worthy, walk-worthy, home office-worthy, inspiring, unbelievable, conversations-worthy podcast. Today is Thursday, the 3rd of February, 2022. Hi, Kristy. How are you?
Hi, Summers. I'm well. How are you?
I'm pretty inspired. Before we started today's recording, yesterday's episode where we talked about misogynistic language, we were doing a quick review and we got into talking about consent and sexual health and intimacy and generational disparities. And I love what we do for a living, Kristy, because
I do too.
It's so inspiring.
It is.
So cool. We were so inspired that we've actually decided that we're going to take our Valentine's week at the Optimist Daily, and I'm putting us on notice here. We're making it happen. And we're going to talk about sexual health and consent and love and the evolution of even just the word consent and what it means the week of Valentine's Day. So, wow. I'm feeling fired up. Let's see. Quick updates. Kristy, has your son taken his driver's test yet?
No, that is tomorrow. Hopefully he'll pass. I'm
Excellent.
sure he will. Even if he doesn't, he's young enough to take it again in a few weeks after.
Exactly. And have you cooked anything interesting lately?
Yes, actually, I've made this delicious, spicy, sweet cauliflower last night, which uses turmeric and cinnamon and black pepper and a little bit of honey and salt and pepper and cayenne and paprika and delicious roasted cauliflower. And then I use the same sort of ingredients from the cauliflower dish with some butternut squash also.
Wow. That sounds
Wonderful.
Amazing. I am so going to have to up my dinner game because I got like this, organic shepherd's pie thing that I like put in the oven last night and fed to Brennan, and I put it on her plate and she just looked at me and she's like, "Can I have a cookie?"
My son only eats meat and sweets. Broccoli every so often.
All right. Well, you'll have to share that recipe on your socials. I expect you to start taking Instagram seriously.
Yeah, Summers, I can't do that.
Fine. Just message me privately and then I'll put it on social.
You can put it up. Okay.
Exactly. So let's get to the news of the day, shall we?
Well, yeah. So we were talking about yesterday's show, and there I talked about water filtration using kombucha. Today, I'm also talking about filters for water and filtration. I'm talking about PFAs, which are the forever chemicals that are in our environment, and they've been taking over. And this is one of the unspoken of. It hasn't really gotten into mainstream awareness yet, the dangers of chemical pollution, which is another environmental toxin that we're dealing with. We did the show with Shauna Swan and Stacey Colino last year on Countdown.
Right.
Anyway, so this headline reads, Congress is finally taking PFA technologies seriously.
Correct.
PFAs are widely used chemicals that break down extremely slowly over time because of the extreme strength of their carbon fluoride bonds. Due to their long-lasting nature, they are used in clothing, furniture, heat-resistant non-stick cooking surfaces, food packaging, insulation. So many things use PFAs, and they're called forever chemicals because of their incredible persistence. And basically nothing destroys them. Heat doesn't, water doesn't, they don't dissolve, they're there. We've been using them probably for 40, 50 years, and their presence has risen to extraordinary amounts just in our environment. They're now found in the blood of animals and humans. They're in our water systems. They're in our food systems. Their presence is incredible. Synthetic chemicals are all over the planet, and it's causing real downstream negative effects, reductions in fertility, changes in our fertility for humans and other living organisms. Increased chance of immune deficiencies, cancers. Anyway, these chemicals are found in our drinking water and all over the place. So filtration companies are trying to remove them as much as possible, but there's no technology right now that's in widespread use that can feasibly remove the chemical from our water systems. Even when it's fully filtered, what do you do with those chemicals? They have to go somewhere because they don't break down. There was a meeting recently in December of 2021 where there was a bunch of different smart companies and folks who came together to try to talk about what are some approaches. So there's a new approach called Supercritical water oxidation, which was invented by a nonprofit research organization called Battelle. The technology uses super hot water, 374 degrees Celsius, at very high pressure as an oxidizing agent to break down the strong bonds in the chemical. A sodium hydroxide salt is then added as a neutralizing agent for the acidic after product after the reaction, and then that is later filtered out using a separator. So basically it's using super high pressure, super hot water, and it does end up breaking those chains. But the end result is drinking water with undetectable levels of PFAs and no after products that cannot be further filtered and broken down. So this is a kind of a neat evolution, and the fact that people are now starting to take seriously the need to remove PFAs from our environment. This is the front runner right now in terms of solutions. Battelle is explaining the idea to be an economically viable solution, even though it's going to take some scaling and some major investment to scale it up because it is pretty energy intensive. It's kind of complex, the complex reactors that have to be built. But once they get in operation, perhaps it will be something we can use to help filter it out of our environment. In the meantime, we should definitely try to restrict the use of PFAs to only essential uses and, scale back the environmental and health problems that are starting to come up with these kind of chemical pollution all over the place.
Yeah. Well, we make small changes, and certainly the interview that we did with our guest was stressful for me, right? Getting single-use plastics out of my life has been a huge challenge, but it's those subtle differences and those subtle changes that you can make, converting your kid's water bottle to a metal water bottle as opposed to a plastic one, those little teeny things that we can do. And then if there can actually be, we talk about this all the time, the systemic changes and then the individual changes or how change is affected. So I like this story. It does cause my anxiety to rise up a little bit, but it is what it is. And we're here and future generations need a better future. So my story takes the delivery of stuff on as far as the systemic change and improving the way that it is done. My headline reads, Cargo e-bikes are here to make parcel delivery more efficient. Now, I picked this story because, as many of you know, I live in kind of a remote location. My nearest Whole Foods is very far away. It's, 35-minute drive. I've got great basics available, but even Target is 30 minutes away. So I have a lot of parcels delivered to my home. The story begins. The final step in parcel delivery is called the last mile, and it is essentially the stage of a product's journey from a warehouse into a truck and finally the buyer's doorstep. While key to customer satisfaction, this final step is incredibly inefficient. This is because the final leg of a package's shipment often involves gas-fueled trucks making multiple stops with low drop sizes. These journeys often take place in an already congested city center, contributing to heavy traffic and pollution. Interesting side note, really fascinating study on efficacy and right-hand turns with UPS trucks. Someday we'll talk about that on the Optimist Daily.
Yeah, I'm very I don't know what you're talking about, so I'm curious to learn more.
I'll tell you more on that later. Now, one company called Axle Hire is working to revolutionize delivery logistics and tackle these inefficiencies. After a number of different pilot projects, the company's latest development is taking place in Los Angeles, where it is opening 4 micro hubs that will serve as bases for a new cargo model. As part of the initiative, deliveries will take place from each hub in containers fitted onto electric bikes. The aim is to increase parcel volume and reduce time spent in traffic and slash carbon footprint of each journey. The story goes on to explain how these 75 cubic feet containers for these e-bikes are designed to most effectively sort of use the number, shapes, and sizes of packages that are delivered. And it's also reducing trucks stuck in traffic, so it reduces the time to receipt of the package. So you're not only decongesting the city streets, you're reducing the footprint and delivering more efficiently. It's one of those solutions that takes care of all of the stakeholders. Now, I live in a particularly rural locations, so there's not a lot of traffic congestion, but I do know that those big, huge trucks rumbling up and down the highway cause huge noise pollution. And I see the Amazon Prime trucks or all of the local private fleet trucks doing it as well.
Yeah,
so,
and I think what's interesting is I know that there's a push for UPS and also Amazon to move towards electric delivery vehicles, and that will move them towards more carbon neutral delivery systems. But e-bikes are fantastic, especially for a more urban environment.
Yeah.
May not be so great for where you live, Summers.
Where I used to live, right in the heart of Santa
Yeah,
Monica,
absolutely.
where traffic congestion and the trucks parked on the streets trying to make all the deliveries and people not being able to get around them. Absolutely, this makes sense.
Yeah. I think e-bikes are one of those things that are really getting cool now.
My husband even bought an e-bike.
Oh, really? Yeah.
This is Mr. like motorcycle and mountain bike. E-bikes are not my thing. Yeah.
Older men who are trying to keep up with their younger sons
on the mountain bike. Exactly.
On the mountain bike. They get the e-bike to give them the extra boost.
Yep. All right. Well, speaking of solutions, Kristy, what else do we have on today's stories?
Other headlines from today's Optimist Daily. Scarlett Westbrook presents first student-written bill for UK climate education. Surprising myth about vitamin D. Rihanna donates $15 million to organizations championing climate justice. What else, Summers?
There is a small brick hospital in Bangladesh winning the world's best building. 3D graphene hugely increases hydrogen storage capabilities, and why it's important to celebrate small victories in the workplace. That and much, much more, as always, is available on the Optimist Daily Update. Thank you all for listening to us here today. We promise to continue to share positive, solution-based stories with ideas on how you can participate in this changing world and ensure it is changed for the good. We promise to cover the current events with accuracy, legitimate sources, and offer you the information needed most to chart new paths for all of us.
And if you haven't already signed up, please consider becoming an emissary and joining that elite community on theoptimistdaily.com that helps us do what we do. Starting at just $5 a month, you can support reader-funded independent journalism and be part of the solution-changing consciousness addressing our world's biggest challenges, that problem-solving mindset. Thanks, everybody, for being here. Thanks for helping support us. And let's keep the Optimist Daily free for everybody, supported by those of us who can.
Thanks for listening, guys. We'll be back tomorrow with more solutions.
PFAs, which are per and polyfluoroalkyl. Wait, hang on. Per and polyfluoroalkyl. Anyway, I'm not cut this out.
Yeah.